Now, for a few minutes, I would like to discuss the topic, if you will, of American federalism and separation of powers, because a key to understanding how our system of governance works, really at both the federal and the state level, is it's important and critical to understand what we mean by federalism and the separation of powers. American federalism is a system of governance in which the federal government holds only those powers that are deemed most effectively exercised by a central government, such as the declaration of war and the regulation of interstate commerce. And this is, again, from the work of Dr. Dayton. And in our system of government, those powers that the federal government holds are laid out in the United States Constitution. And while this is not a class in constitutional law, it is critical that we understand that those powers are granted by our Constitution. Therefore, in our system of government, the federal government is a government of limited powers. Now, editorially, we're in a system of government where our federal government has quite a bit of power, and we're going to talk about that in a different topic shortly. So our federal government is a government of limited powers. Now, what you see here, it comes from the federal government itself. The website is there. The organizational chart of the United States federal government. And you can see that at the top of the hierarchy is the United States Constitution. And the United States Constitution lays out three branches of government: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. You will see that the legislative branch, the executive branch, or what Dr. Dayton calls the administrative branch, is the largest branch of government in that it is charged with executing the laws of the United States. And we have 13 cabinet positions, I believe, 15 cabinet positions now, and independent establishments and governmental corporations, all serving the executive branch. So, moving ahead, we can see in clearer view the separation of powers. Again, the United States Constitution lays out the powers of Congress. It lays out the powers of the administrative branch, and it lays out the powers of the judicial branch. And these separation of powers have a constitutionally built-in system of checks and balances. Our Constitution is designed so that amending it is quite a task. The framers of the Constitution did not want a system like we have in Texas, for example, where the Constitution is amended through the initiative and referendum process through the voters. They wanted a Constitution that could only be amended in extraordinary circumstances. So our Constitution can be amended through the proposal and ratification process. Proposing amendments can happen in one of two ways: through a 2/3 majority of both houses of both the U.S. and the Senate, or through the application of 2/3 of the legislatures of the states by means of constitutional conventions. So that's how amendments are proposed. Ratifying amendments can occur in one of two ways: by 3/4 of the state legislatures, or by 3/4 of the state constitutional conventions if a constitutional convention is caused. The quick way to remember this is proposing requires 2/3, ratifying requires 3/4.